Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the August Sunday storytelling sessions. And Birth Allies was busy supporting mothers the other Sundays. So here we are with a new story. I'm Sneha Bakkal, a birth doula, birth attendant, and I practice in Mumbai. I love supporting mothers, parents in pregnancy and childbirth and postpartum. Today I have a very special guest um, who found me on Instagram because there was a similarity in her choice she was making and in me that I was a birth village mother where I birthed my baby. So she inquired about the experience, etc. And then we became good friends. And now she's a fellow birth village mother. So I welcome Sister Hafsa. Uh, she's basically from Karnataka, settled in Calicut. She is doing done engineering and working as a software developer. She's blessed with a baby girl, and she's passionate about human body and wellness. So, welcome, Hafsa, to Birth Alive Story.
Thank you.
I pin you, and you can narrate your story to us.
Okay, hello everyone. So, Sneha has already introduced me. I actually found out Sneha uh, during my research of whether or not to choose BV. So, I found out I was pregnant last year, July. So it was typical. You find out you're pregnant, then you go to the hospital, run some tests, and then they put you on certain like supplements and folic acid and stuff like that. So that was going on up until like 3-4 months or so. And the hospital that I was going to was also like the best that I could find here. uh, uh, like if you hear some birth stories, mostly they choose to not to go to hospital because of that lack of connection, whereas here everything was going good, everything was fine, the doctor was good, they used to talk about human body, what is happening and everything. But as you know, I'm really passionate about human body and wellness and stuff like that, so I used to watch lectures and attend podcasts and all that stuff, researching. So even before I got married, like way before, I knew about water birth, home births, doula system. But it was like something that happens in a foreign country, like something, some concept that is not going to work here. So even though I knew all about it, but I never imagined myself going through that, because there was nobody for me to have that kind of similarity. So things were going, and then due to my, like, I have this kid in me to always research and always understand what is going, like what is pregnancy, what is happening with me, what is going to happen during delivery and all that. So in that time I got to know about episiotomy, different positions, pain management and all that stuff. So I had lots and lots and lots of questions. And around, I think, when I was 4 to 5 months, the hospital that I was going, they conducted an antenatal session. So at the end the gynec came in. Up until that point everything was good, okay, they told me that the hospital provides golden hour and stuff. But then during that session with gynec, I asked some doubts about position. So right, like, upfront she was telling, see, this hospital has only lithotomy position, so if you want to try other methods, you have to, there are, the hospital doesn't support that, you have to like go to midwifery system for that. And then I asked about episiotomy. So then that also was like, everybody gets that, you cannot deliver without a cut. And then I asked, why is it like, why do everybody has to go through this? Then they told me that see, in foreign countries and all, you see this natural birthing and stuff. So in India, like not India, but basically the Asian women have smaller pelvis, and the baby's head is big. So you have to be cut to make sure that you don't tear up till your butthole, like entire rectal area gets damaged. Then even if you do birth, you'll end up 20 30 years down the line, you'll have this, you cannot control yourself, control your body and things like that. So you basically fear. Okay, so that's the point when I understood because I asked these questions. I got to know that the women around attending that class, everybody got to know that episiotomy is a routine done. And so at that point I was like, it that thing doesn't suit me. Like the hospital birth was not something that I was ready to align with. And then my research started. I started asking my friends, my cousins, everybody who had birth before me, right, in my family, and everybody had gone through the same thing. No one was ready to ask questions, like find out more about birthing. And so what happened was my husband family side, last past 2 generations, they all were home births. My husband's m- matlab paternal and maternal grandparents, they all were like had their home births. And even my husband's I think his aunt, she had 3 kids uh, within the home. And even his grandma was like, I have never seen a hospital, I had 6 birds at home. And then I wanted to find out more about it, because that concept was like very new to me. But even though it's like very primal, because hospitals came into existence like recently, right? People were birthing since so many years. So that was this I wanted to know more. And they told me about this. There was a rope hanging in the middle. They used to hold it tight and push it, and then do their job. The pain was like 2 3 days. And nowadays the women cannot handle that much pain, that's why they go to hospital. And that was very, like, I did not wanted to go through uh, this like pain relief. Then okay, also the thing about due dates, when I asked in the hospital, they told everybody, every Asian woman, after 40 weeks their chance of complications increases a lot. So they have, if you're not giving birth by your due date, then you have to get induced. Okay, so everything was like, I cannot I cannot do this. So then I started researching more about, because I knew water birth and home birth and stuff. I was just trying to get to know my other options, and that's how I got introduced to birth village. And since I had nobody who had this kind of experience, so I thought I can directly ask to others who had experienced that natural birthing. So that's how I messaged Sneha. I had also had a talk with some other people, and nobody had any bad say about them. Like everybody was like, if you have the opportunity, you should go. Matlab, you should try for natural birthing. And it was I thought it was going to be very difficult to convince everybody. But thank God, like I was blessed enough that when I shared with my parents, and even my husband's parents, they were, because they know what hospital system, like how it goes, and they have that first hand experience with their own daughter. So they just had this this tension, that how are you going to go there, stay there, and all that. But regarding to choose birth village, they actually did not have anything to say about it. So then I even had a talk with a doula in Calicut. So she was also like, since you're a first time mom, why risk it? You can easily go there. And that's how I decided, like, but still I had that fear, because the doctors and like whoever I talked to never had natural birthing, never had that experience. Even in the hospital, they were like, if you get a tear, and if you like tear too much, entire life is going, like, you cannot live, you cannot control. And so that was my greatest fear until I went there. But then once I reached there, I surrendered completely, because there was no going back from there. And there the twist comes when my due date arrives. Like we have to go around 36 weeks. So I was there before my 37th week, like before the 37 week started. So I was like, Abhi, like the pain will come now in 2 days, in 1 week, in some days. I had this menstrual kind of cramps coming and going, but it was nothing, like nothing serious. And after that March 28th due date be like, it came and went, and I was feeling nothing at all. And that's when the fear came. Everybody started messaging, when is your admit date, when is your due date, when are you going to the hospital, has the baby arrived? And like Priyanka, the midwife that is in the birth village, she was like, we cannot afford you like to stress, so just keep your phones away, do not worry, your baby will come on time, your baby is okay. So once we cross 40 weeks, they actually have us go through this non-stress test to make sure that the baby and the mama is doing fine. So even I was having baby movements quite regularly, and I was very very active because they tell us, like if like birthing is a marathon, so you have to prepare yourself. So I was climbing the stairs, walking, doing exercise and everything, but I was feeling fine, but the people were torturing me. So like, when is your baby going to come, when are you going to the hospital? Whereas the like in the birthing center that I chose, they were like, you can only come when you are in pain, and we can choose to induce if we want, like we have that power. We if we you're getting tense, like you don't want to wait too much, then we can. So I actually waited for 10 more days after my due date, and it was 27th day of the month of Ramadan, and that's when contraction started hitting me, and that's when I thought maybe something was happening. And that's the same day I thought, let's like, why wait for like, why go beyond 42, let's do induction. And I was completely surrendering to like the almighty, and I went that day for getting that stress test done. All the while I was having some kind of pains, but I was like, already so many days had passed, so I had not thought about this, like I am any time soon for birthing, because when the cervical test, the dilation they checked, right, the pelvis pelvic examination. So at that time also, the like in the hospital, I had my friends telling me, the doctor tells you to lie down, they insert their finger and test you, they like do not give a warning or anything. And it was, everyone was like, it was traumatizing for them, right? But here they ask you, and they were like, can you feel this, are you okay with this? And oh my god, I like every day I was thanking Allah that, okay, I am here, like I am in the, I have selected a good thing compared to what was here. So when my PV was done, I was not enough dilated and not enough effaced, the baby was still high after, like this was all in a week past my due date. So when on this day, when the doctor checked, she was like, I think you do not need to induce, you seem very favorable, even though you're 2 centimeters dilated, you seem very favorable, let's wait out a day more. And when I went back home, the pain was continuously coming, and I was listening to meditation videos. I also remember asking her, should I do more? Like I was like, so I'm not doing enough for the uh, like dilation to happen. So she was like, see, if you keep calm and you relax, your body will do its thing for you. If you think you're tired, because since I was having the pain since the night, so she was like, if you have not slept, I think you should sleep, get rest, and then you can do whatever you want. And I think that was the thing, my that allowed my body to be dilated very very fast. I remember sleeping listening to these audios, and the point I woke up, I was in a lot of pain, but my mind was like, see, I was just 2 centimeters dilated like 2 3 hours ago, so this is not going to happen anytime soon. And I also knew about the stages of labor, active labor, and the thing getting 2 3 days. So I was not ready to accept that I was actually going to birth soon. So this thing kept happening. My mom, my Masi, my husband were all panicking. Please, let's go. And I did not want to go there and come back if we are not 5 centimeters. I cannot imagine getting a contraction inside the car to and from BV. So I kept waiting, waiting, waiting until I felt like I had to poop. Like there was a very strong urge to push, and I thought, I think maybe I should go. And my eyes were all like going up. It was like almost near death, but I think why I could manage it so well is because, one, I was not acknowledging that I was going to birth anytime soon, so I was waiting for something more. And two, I was breathing enough. So I think that the two things. And I was in my home, okay, I was in my home with the people I love, nothing else, um, no disturbances at all. And so when I went there that same day, in few hours, the doctor checks me and she's like, Hafsa, congrats, you're 9 centimeters dilated. And I was so shook. The water broke after that. they found meconium. And since I had done my research, I was like, the baby's heart should not like fluctuate. I want that baby to get here very very soon. But since I was very new, I did not know how to get through that pushing stage, because all I was feeling was an urge to push. And what I thought I will feel some type of way. I will choose, like how I was managing my contraction, I thought I will choose myself what how to move and all. But I'll tell you, I was not able to do anything. I completely relied on the midwives, that whoever was there. And also the care that they provided, they were like I was some kind of baby. They were like that much care and coziness, and my husband by my side. Alhamdulillah, that was a very nice experience. I am damn sure, even if my, like in the hospital that I was visiting, they allow the husband, but the husband will be like a visitor, no, he's not going to do anything. But here they are telling him to do this, do that. I was drinking, I was hydrating, and I did not have a single injection up until that point. No IVs, nothing. I was moving, they told me to move. And then suddenly I feel a very bad urge to push, and that ring of fire. I remember telling that midwife that I think I am going through that ring of fire, because I was literally feeling that. And then in a second, she came close to me and did something. At that point I was like in a haze, so I really did not know what was being done. But then all of a sudden I saw my baby, and I did not, like, me and my husband was so in a haze that the nurse were like, oh, you congrats, you had a baby girl, but we did not register it. And I was just looking at her. She had this big eyes, I had this big eyes, and the midwife was like, why are you both staring so much? And I saw that cord like twisted around her whole body and neck. So in a single swift movement, she untied like that, and then she directly placed her on my chest. And then I had no concept of time here. So then she told me, let's get you on the bed so that the placenta can come out. And that's when, like, no, wait, I want to know the gender of my baby. And she was like, we already told you it's a baby girl. And that's when I came to my senses. And then I lied on my bed. Okay, the next moment, after lying on my bed, they got me a hot chocolate. Like, that was, I needed that energy. So then yeah, they tell, no, once you have your baby, you forget everything. Even though it was painful, whatever was happening down there, still there was a adrenaline, that you feel, that emotions that you're completely filled with joy. And when I was getting sutured up, my baby had time with her daddy. They were doing skin to skin. Okay, the latch was also done in the golden hour. And I was like, everything that I wanted, that I prayed for, that I imagined myself, and like, I was so close to being induced and letting, like, maybe this was not going to happen, but then everything happened the way I wanted it. And like, it was so empowering, because nobody that I know in my close circle has had anything near to this. Even when I'm telling about delayed cord clamping or skin to skin or first latch, nobody has that experience. But it is so bad that if you have like a normal delivery, they take the baby out, show you, and then they take the baby away. You're not even allowed to have that connection, whereas for the past 9 months, the baby and you were the only two people connected. But the rest of the world comes into picture the moment the baby is born. So yeah, so that was my story.
Wow, that is like I was taken aback in my days, the moment when I felt that supported. Hafsa, thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing your story. So I have few questions, and those sisters who have any question, they can add up. You can put your questions down there in the chat box. So when you said Hafsa that you have this kida to research. So when I see families every day and they have this YouTube as their resource of learning and understanding whatever they want to understand, and there are influencers who say talk about take this to get a normal birth, do this and do that. So what were your resources? Like what
Yeah.
were the websites you were researching? Did you find like influencers better than reading up things? Did
No,
you think
influencers,
over
if
reading?
you, yeah, if you watch the videos of influencers, everybody has their opinion based on their experiences. It's not, it's, I don't think it's 100% based on evidence.
Yeah.
So when I was, I first watched people who went through it, like
Okay.
uh, individual births. But then later I realized some people are telling to drink okra water, one is telling to drink castor oil, one is telling you to do this, do that. So I was like, uh, if something worked for them, it's not necessary that it will work
Absolutely.
for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So then when I came to know that midwifery is a thing, I started looking up on their videos, like the official thing. Then also there is an official page called evidence based birth practices. So
Yeah.
then I read up, I started reading. I think I started reading more because the doctor at my hospital, she was like, the Asian body thing, oh, you
Yeah.
cannot trust everything that WHO says. It's for
Mm.
big bodies, like the people who are in
Yeah.
Arab and America. We are built different. You can research on it. You can
Yeah.
search. If you don't get episiotomy, the you can read up for complications. There are research papers available. So that's when I thought, okay, then let me also read. If she, like, nobody comes intellectually born, right? We all read up and learn.
Ji.
So then I started reading, attending the class. There were alhamdulillah, there were many online classes of the midwives. Even there was one around 2 a.m. Like for them it is some other time, right? A UK based midwife Lily on Insta. So I
Okay.
was attending all that, asking
Wow.
questions on. I went live that day, like attended them. And I asked the question there, I was that I wanted to find the answer somehow. And she was also like, who told you this? We don't give episiotomies here. Why those? And I asked them about the body, and she was like, do you think everybody here are like that much built? There
Yeah.
are petite women here.
Mm.
And then okay, I was like, yeah. And I think all of the googling and stuff, you have to be aware of where you get your information
Yeah,
from.
yeah, absolutely. That's so true. So I would say that in your case, your doctor was a blessing in disguise because
Yeah.
when she provoked you that you do your own research,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
that helped you, to deep dive, in a
Yes,
better
yes, yeah.
resource pool, I would say,
Yeah, yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
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 So tell me that, first time mom and, doing so much of research and people would be giving you some kind of comments also, your immediate members would understand your situation and the need to do what you want to do. But then what have you heard of, the nastiest thing about whatever you were doing?
Like when some people in my family got to know that I am going there, like, are there not enough hospitals here?
Ah, yeah.
First question. Yeah, are there not enough hospitals? Then some other people were like, are there any complications? Like the doctors are not enough here. Like they thought like that.
Yeah.
Some others were like, is it like very reasonable to go there and birth? Like for them it was something financial.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So nobody was ready to accept. And even when I'm asking people of my age, they were like, we all did this, no? Why do you want to go there? And I remember people like being very afraid, like, will you be able to do this without any pain management? You remember, right? There is no epidural, there is nothing that you can do if this goes on for long. But then the people who I talked, like in my husband's family, those who went through that, I think they empowered me a lot. They were like, listen, Afsa, no woman is going to birth like this. Everybody will have to go through that surge and that contractions, and the pain has to come so that baby can come. The pain is purposeful.
Hmm.
And that's I think every first time mom will be scared a little, right? Like, what are the contractions going to feel like? So even I was afraid, but they kept telling me the same thing, like, pain has to happen, you have to face it. So then my entire point of view shifted to how I can manage pain well.
Hmm.
And that's how the meditation and positive talking affirmations and stuff came into play.
Okay. That's really nice.
And even when my due date crossed, that's when everybody was like, thank God you went there. Otherwise you must you go you sh- like you would have gotten induced, and you would have, when I telling you, like, I was not close to labor, when even 1 week after my due date. That's I found out that because I was there, right? But if I was here, obviously they're not going to wait.
Yeah,
So you can understand that pitocin, what that pitocin was going to do to me. So
absolutely.
that's when everybody was like, thank God you went there, so that
So yeah, like for me also, the Priyanka had mentioned that keep your phones away, Sneha. Just
yeah,
be intuitive. Just listen to your body. Listen to this. And I spoke to my doula. She said, do some artwork. Just keep all your logistics and brains aside, and just get involved with your baby.
yeah,
So with when you had this temptation of getting induced because you
yeah,
crossed your due date, what was the
yeah,
state of
yeah.
your husband? What has kept him empowered? What has kept him going? Yeah, Hafsa, let's do it. Do not worry. How is it?
Yeah, okay. So my husband was like, since I am the research part, he listens
Yeah.
to me because he has understood everything from what I am saying. He couldn't attend all the classes that they provide, right? The
Absolutely. Yeah.
childbirth education classes. He was not able to attend. So whatever I was telling him, he was reading me and my mind and whatever I know. Because I
Good.
also, when I mentioned about that MAS, meconium aspiration syndrome, that increases by 50% once you cross 40 weeks, and these are the this is what happens. Like, it's not necessary that it will happen, but there are chances, the chances will increase.
Mm,
And the funny part is my brother is doing MBBS.
mm.
So he I thought most of that negative feedback will be from him, whereas because he's doing internship, because he has seen births, he was like, I'm glad you're there. See, you're like, because he was close to me, I matter to him, he knows that the hospital system, how it works. So he was reluctant to wait, because matlab, people don't like, they are taught not to wait, right?
Yeah.
So my husband was like, he wanted me to be stress free.
Okay.
And because the midwife was like, people birth here after 42, people have birthed very calmly at 42. So listening to her, seeing me, seeing the baby, so he was like, let's wait. And if you think that I cannot take it anymore, then he also wanted me to not stress it out. And like, you know what stress does to you, right? So that's how, like, he was like, you tell me what you feel, you tell me, because you and the baby should be safe, you should be stress free. And I was like, we had only booked up till that date, what if it crosses, we have to pay more. He was like, please don't think about that, the baby has to come, the baby will come, we'll stay there, everything will. But he was like, he was just concerned that how, mm, what will happen to me. So yeah, so he was more concerned about that. But I think once we talked with Priyanka, he got that confidence to let's wait it out. And also he was the one to talk to the people who were questioning. So what he did was, he told, we actually mistook the due date. The due date is around April 14.
Very nice. That's really cool.
Yeah, so
Isn't
that
it?
people could finally stop
Because as
asking.
it is, we get so many due dates. Every scan has a
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah,
due date.
sure.
You choose
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best
yeah.
due date for yourself.
Yeah, and the last scan actually was showing a very far due date. So he was like, yeah, yeah. So the my baby was on a lower end of the weight. So he was like, yeah, due date. We actually, like, the due date confusion happened. The baby will come around April 14. So after that only you ask. And then I had my baby around 10 days after due date.
Okay, great.
When it was time to come, she came quickly. She
Yeah,
took a sweet time.
absolutely. They just flop, and you're like, oh, where's the
Yeah.
baby? So how was your stay in Kerala? Like, in Cochin, how did you enjoy? People say it was a staycation, and we
Yeah,
enjoyed our last few weeks. How was it for you?
yeah. I think what they say is actually 100% true, because it was only me and my husband most of the
Ah,
time. Yeah, and since he goes, like, he has his own office, so he's always busy, and I don't get enough of him. But at that, like, since he had to he's doing all his work from home online.
Mhm.
So he was also seeing me doing things like working working out, having these pains, everything. So and the best part was Lulu. Every weekend we went to Lulu, and he was like, when we were coming back home after doing all the shopping and all, he was like, "Next week you will not come. You will be on bed." But then I go again next week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
karte karte because the
we had gone to Lulu every time we went to visit our midwives. And my midwife used to always encourage me to have a lot of protein, Sneha. So used to have this
uh,
alfaham, have this barbecue chicken and stuff like that. Then we went to Adirpalli, we went to every place, only LP was left. And then when the baby came, and I'm like, oh, LP was left. We could have gone to
reh gaya.
LP, and the whole tour of Cochin would have been amazing. Like, everything would have been into our to-do list and bucket list. Tick, tick.
Yeah.
So, but then, yeah, Alhamdulillah, that was how it was.
Even when she told me that if you could take long walks outside, that would be better. So I urged him to find some place, because the place where we were staying, it was not greenery and all, so we did not have much area to walk.
Mhm.
So he found out a place. We then drove there. We just drove for, I think, 10-20 minutes to walk an hour. And you should the thing was that everything was happening during Ramadan, so he was
Yeah,
already tired.
fasting
Still,
and tired.
Alhamdulillah,
Yeah,
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 he took me to like these long walks, and I convinced him to please walk with me, climb stairs with me.
yeah.
It
So
was good
you managed your
until we.
postpartum also all alone, or your family members arrived to support you?
My mom and my masi were there with us, but
सब बच्चों के कपड़े उतार के रूम में रखो तो जरा उधर से
Fatma, you're on 1 minute. I'll just mute off. Yeah, she got. Yeah. So you had your mother with you throughout.
She came. No, no, she came after 2-3 weeks, because it was Ramadan. My dad was here, so
Ah.
she couldn't come. So okay, I have to thank my Masi for this, because I had nobody to go there, and my husband was like, if we are going to do this, either somebody has to come with us, because he has not experienced this, no. So he was like, how will I take care of you, take care of work, take care of house, everything alone? So he was like, somebody has to come with us. So my mom obviously couldn't come, because that the whole Ramadan situation, dad was not well and everything. So my Masi stepped in. She was like, beta,
Inshallah.
until I'm here, I am alive, you will go to Kochi and birth over there.
Wow. Wow,
So
that's the visit.
yeah, I had lost hope. How will I go? But then she was that shining ray of sunshine for me, who made this possible. Later, my mom joined me after my dad's situation settled down. My mom joined me, and uh, okay, I also think, because I used to watch the foreign videos,
Yeah.
my mind was like, I have to take care of my baby. The baby came through me. But I think that had some kind of negative, it was not that much independence. When it comes to it, it takes a village to raise a
Yeah, yeah,
child.
absolutely.
And yeah, I understood that pretty late.
But you still had your mother and your aunt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was just I would like to visualize, I would like you to visualize that moment when you were staring at your baby and the baby was staring, because I've always been observing that during the births, and it is so beautiful that, I feel like having babies.
Yeah, yeah, that moment,
What
yes.
was that moment for you when you saw your baby and the baby was looking at you? And then people also do belly crawling, so breast crawling,
Ha
sorry.
ha ha ha. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
did
yeah.
that happen with you after
Yeah,
the
yeah, it
birth?
did happen. Yeah, so when the contractions were coming, like I delivered within 2 hours of reaching there. I was there 4:45, 6 the baby had come out. So in that short time, I just wanted to know, like I wanted to feel the baby descending, but that feeling was not there for me. Like I told you, I was completely reliant on them. So when this baby came out, I was like, I completely shocked, and the entire people around me like went away. I was in this very weird kind of state where I could only look at her, look at my baby, and people are there, but I am not registering them, whatever they are saying and all. And I was like, okay, this thing was inside me. I grew this thing. Like it was very, 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 the feeling you cannot like really express. Like like I was like usually used to record when she was moving inside me,
Ah,
so I was
acha.
like, so you were doing all that dancing inside me. Yes, and directly, in few seconds they put her on my chest, and I cannot tell you how beautiful that moment was. Like, she is outside of me and on me the moment she was born. Like, we had that connection, nobody was disturbing us, I was holding her, and I could not look at her face, right? I am like just seeing her head
Ah,
because she was on my chest. I'm not looking at her, what gender she is, just this small little tiny human being
yeah.
covered with that beautiful white what we did,
Vernix,
vernix, right? Yeah. So they also, that I like the fact that they did not put clothes on her, like smooshed her, cover her up, clean her up, nothing. The way she was born, she was brought onto my chest. After, like I told you, after a few minutes of them telling us to go, like, lie down on the bed, that's when I came into my senses, and I was like, okay, there is a husband behind me,
yeah.
there is a midwife in front of me, and I like, now I am thinking, why did I not look at my husband that the moment she was born? Because I could have seen him shedding some tears. Because I later found out he did tear up when he saw
You
baby.
birth in squat position, right?
Yeah, yes. I had she had me do several positions, but I think that felt the best,
That felt best
because
for you.
that, yeah, the contraction. Even there was a point where I was thinking, will some other position suit me well? But
Mm.
then I was not feeling anything. That intuition was not coming to do anything. So I did Scott.
Your husband was behind you, and then
Yeah.
he was holding you. Yeah,
Yeah, and after birth, he was
that's the
like,
same position for me.
yeah, and he was like, I
Alhamdulillah.
think I have so many fractures on my hand because you have. But he was
Yeah,
joking. That much pressure, I never knew you had this much pressure.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And he
That's very
actually had
common.
bruises, I think. Yeah.
That's very common when we support, mothers during the birth. Recent birth where the mother was in the water and she said, "Just hold my hand," and she was just squeezing. I was like, "Okay, I need to take this." Okay, so yeah, it's part and parcel of the birth support.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. And
Yeah.
so did your husband supporting throughout made a difference in your relationship?
Yeah, definitely. Because even his mom was like questioning, are you going to be there with her? No,
Yeah,
no moms are
I
allowed.
wouldn't want that.
Uh, yeah, she was very surprised, like, how will you manage, how will you manage the baby? But I think when we had a discussion with Priyanka, she was like, you are going to be the parents, so it's time you stop being children and learn
Yeah,
to be parents.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. When you
but
get
this
married,
kind
you're
of,
mature. You're mature enough to do everything. There are mothers
yeah,
who will not allow their sons to go inside when there's a scan happening, and that's also
yeah.
the norm in the hospitals. When the doctor is
Mm,
doing PV or just palpating or
mm,
doing whatever, they'll just ask the
mm.
husband to leave the room. I think
Yeah. Why?
he's the one who got her here,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you are asking him to go. Like what?
Yeah.
So
Even
that,
I was telling him that when I got pregnant, like when we were having baby, I was like, see, this human being is here because of us.
yeah,
So we are the ones first responsible. Everybody else comes into picture later. So even like I went through these tests, even in the hospital that I was showing here, right? They allow husbands to come
mm,
during the scan.
mm,
So I don't think he would have imagined for this to happen. But since I am someone that needed my husband to be there,
mm.
and even we attended a workout session together
Wow,
during pregnancy. Yeah, so
nice. That's nice.
but it was good. Matlab, our relationship was getting strong, but I noticed that people found it pretty strange.
Mm.
I even heard some people saying, after we decided that we are going there, some people were like, husband shouldn't be allowed, but they get scarred for life. I was like, what? They get scarred for life, they have to see this. I don't think it's good for the husbands to be near a delivering
Mm.
mother and all. That was very rude, that I felt very bad.
Mm.
But after he attended, I think he got empowered. I saw him telling his mom and his grandma, and, I am the nurse, I am the doctor, I am the midwife, the baby.
Like,
Yeah, I even cut that cord. Like
yeah.
the fathers do that, right? So I even cut the cord, the baby, and
Alhamdulillah,
I had skin
Alhamdulillah.
to skin. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. I can't thank Allah enough for.
That's what I say that, in each family, there is a man who's attending the birth now. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
these kind of births, and they're probably the first men to do this work.
yeah. Sure, sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
absolutely. Then the family, when they understand the importance of it, then the change happens. And I'm definitely
yeah.
sure that my kids are going to be there completely
Yeah,
otherwise.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think
Alhamdulillah.
also because the like usually this did not happen back then, right? So the
Yeah, yeah,
father children bond was different.
yeah,
But I remember my mom telling when she cried, no, right after she was born, 2 3 days when she cried, and when her daddy held her, she stopped crying, and my mom was like, ये skin to skin का कमाल तो नहीं. Like, is this happening because they did skin to skin and all? Even now when her dad comes, I mean, her face lights up, and even she wakes up at nights. I am okay handling her at night because he has to go to work and all now.
yeah,
But even if she cries, he wakes up and asks, should I do anything? But
yeah.
I'm like, okay, no
Wow.
problem, I'll handle her.
Yeah, like our
I,
husbands are now changing diapers. They are soothing
yeah,
babies.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're baby carrying, baby wearing them.
yeah,
Traveling. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, there's a lot of change, mashallah. And
Even when
I
you
completely give a
mentioned,
share on the attendance of the birth. That really
yeah,
shifts the perspective of the father. They
yeah,
see their wife
definitely,
so vulnerable just to get
yeah,
their baby out. It's their
yeah,
baby.
yeah,
So all these
yeah,
things does impact the relationship, and Alhamdulillah, that only creates a lot of love, respect to each other
yeah,
and for
yeah,
each
yeah,
other,
yeah,
and the baby also feels that essence of love
yeah,
in marriage. Alhamdulillah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So the last question I would like to ask, that you chose, you had that courage to reject a hospital and go to a birth center, while we did it after an experience, but you did it at the first instance, after knowing what's right and wrong, and that's great, and that's courageous, alhamdulillah. But what would be the message which you have been doing? I Because the mothers who have empowering births, they don't stop sharing about it. They do not stop. When I asked you that, Hafsa, are you available for the stories? You said, yes, definitely, I'm doing this. And that's what, someone who cares about women's health would do. She would definitely share and tell people about it. So how would you tell, what message would you give to the mothers who are first time mothers and who's wanting to understand this? What message would you give them?
yeah. I think because the mainstream hospital system, people don't know, they don't realize that there is another option, because it's not, they are not aware, it's not being talked enough. And I read it in the Amani birth book, like you are given 9 months. So if you don't research enough about it and you're giving that autonomy to your care provider, then you have to take your hands off and put your fate on whoever is handling you. So when you have that power, you have the ability to understand and like see where your options lie. It, and also natural birthing is not for everyone. There are people who want to go to hospital, there are people who want to take the epidural. But I just want to make sure, like I want people to know that there are options, and you have to understand the pros and cons behind everything. Even if you choose natural birthing, you have to understand everything about it. If
Yeah.
you're going to the hospital, you need to know the merits and demerits of it. So at the end of the day, when something happens, you will be like, okay, I know that this happened, and these are the reasons. You are not like, I ended up having c-section, I ended up having this because doctor
I did
said
all
so,
my
because
best. I did everything I could to get this
yeah,
birth
yeah,
and
yeah.
see what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So some, I have friends who are like, when I ask them what happened, they tell me doctor told heartbeat fluctuated, doctor told the water had. So I was like, did you ask them? Did you ask that baby how is the heartbeat? They don't know that they can ask questions.
Yeah.
That's the main problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the main problem.
Absolutely. Like asking questions
Mm.
will shift and change things, right?
Yeah,
There have been instances
yeah. And the
where
doctors
I
are
have gone to the doctor, they posted the questions, like, asked the questions. And after 3 to 4 questions, the doctor says, you know what, you cannot birth with me, you cannot deliver your
yeah,
baby here.
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
you are the doctor and not me.
yeah.
Asking you so many
Right,
questions.
right,
I've done so many births. You know what?
right,
Please
right, right.
go. I am not taking your case. And she was happy
Yeah,
that thank you for being that open. I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
that I'm paying you for a service, and you're not,
Mm,
and you expect me to not even ask questions, and that's not
mm,
what I want.
mm. Yeah, yeah. I actually had this podcast where he was a doctor turned to help midwives. Later, he started doing home births.
Yeah,
I don't recall his name, but
doctors too.
that was, uh,
Doctors too.
I think
Yeah, yeah.
because he is very famous for it. He actually does
He's
twin
very famous
births.
for breech home births.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. That
Doctors too.
doctor. Yeah. So, yeah. So, in one of his podcasts, he was like a patient that shifted his perspective. He was like, "Okay, so what are the problems do you have?" Okay, so the mother was like, "What are the problems? I like, I did not tell you one single problem. So how are you making like just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean I'm a patient. I am pregnant woman. I'm not a patient. So." You have to understand that you go to the hospital not because you're sick, you go to the hospital for your health. And I also wanted to add, my sister-in-law had her husband birth with her in that hospital. The say we have 2 3 hospitals here that allow it, but I like when I heard their story and some other husband story who have attended this, all they do is witness it. They are not hands on, like, you understand, they witness it, or they see their wives go through it, they appreciate everything, but they do not understand birth in the essence that we get to do in natural birthing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what my husband felt, in my first birth and the second birth. That first birth I was doing what? I was just waiting. And the
Hmm.
second birth it was me partnering my wife and helping the baby to get
Yeah.
out on the earth side. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Hafsa, that was really, really great and amazing that you gave your time, leaving your young baby there with someone I know your mother would be
Yeah.
taking care of her.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
know that she's not well, so definitely you would
yeah,
want to leave.
yeah.
Thank you so much. I think the sisters are, they said mashallah, and they really enjoyed. So thank you so much, Hafsa.
Thank you for having me.
If anyone wants to connect to you to understand, your experience more and to take suggestions, I would definitely share your number there. And once
Sure.
again, thank you so much for joining in. Take care.
Thank you, Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair.